Hi, Mike. Thank you for coming along. It's good to have you here today.
Thanks, Ritesh. I appreciate the invitation.
No, thank you. We will be discussing today, the importance of cybersecurity, and especially the way we have seen external threat landscape evolving, especially in last 18 months, and especially the importance of cyber intelligence and how it really helps to elevate cyber posture management for organizations. We would love to understand, a little bit what is the vision of Zuellig Pharma and some of the initiatives which you guys have been carrying.
Sure. So Zuellig Pharma is one of the largest healthcare services groups in Asia. Our purpose is to make healthcare more accessible. We provide world-class distribution, commercialisation and digital solutions to the markets in which we serve within Asia. Our company was started almost 100 years ago, and we've grown to be a $13 billion business, serving 13 markets, and we've got 12,000 employees. Our employees, our team, looks after 350,000 medical centres, whether they be doctors, hospitals, pharmacies, etc. And we work with over 1,000 clients, including the top 20 pharma companies in the world. As an organisation, we run some of the most advanced cold chain facilities to make sure that we're managing and distributing temperature-sensitive medicines through the countries we serve. Back in 2017, we established the Zuellig Health Innovation Solutions Centre here in Singapore, with a focus on really creating solutions for the region where they don't exist at the moment, whether they be around digital offerings, data, analytics, etc. But that centre's really helped to develop and has grown our offerings here in the Asian market. So starting to protect some of these things becomes more important for us as well. And I'm sure you're seeing threats in, especially at the consumer level when it comes to these types of things as well.
Yeah, and quite frankly, what we have seen, especially in the industry like pharmaceutical, logistics, surely we have seen a big escalation in cyber threats towards those industries. For some of us, it was very difficult to understand, where pharmaceutical companies, healthcare companies really support the wider ecosystem. But last 15 months has really taught us that how important this industry is and why this industry has to be protected from cyber criminals.
And I think it's probably another thing you probably got more insight than I do on it, but the COVID-19 pandemic has really pushed the focus of, I know for ourselves as a business from the outside world, I've seen us in the media more and more than we would have before, but I assume that also elevates our risk.
Yeah, no, 100%. And cyber criminals have actually capitalized on this whole pandemic, right? In last 15 months, it used to be the time when their focus was all about enterprises, where they could have made the best out of their attempt. But nowadays, it's like quite flat. They're going to SMEs, they're going into small businesses,
Yep.
and it's pretty much the type of impact which they can leave. And especially if you look at healthcare industry, that is surely a focus for cyber criminals. And it's not just, cyber criminals who are financially motivated. It's also about, intellectual property. It is also about how do we get hang of PII, CII, and that is a very, very important factor which cyber criminals are trying to capitalize on.
My own team, we've been 100% work from home now for approaching 2 years.
Yeah.
But we also operate, obviously, distribution centres, etc., where a lot of staff need to come to work. But where we can, a lot of the office staff in those places have also been in and out of work from home arrangements. What does that do to the cyber risk of an organisation?
Yeah, no, it's a great question you ask, and it surely elevates the overall, attack surface of
Yep.
the organization,
Yep.
because all of a sudden, your staffs are operating out of home, and we know for a fact that home networks are not as strong as your enterprise networks. You've got a computer, you've got a router in front, and there is nothing else in between. Now, think about a situation where one of the researchers is operating out of home and he holds all the intellectual property, all the trade secret of organization. Surely that becomes a very, very easy target for cyber criminals. They do not have to now break all those barriers of enterprise. They can pretty much straight away come into endpoint which is being actually stationed in a home network.
Yep.
Now that's one of the things. I think the other thing to also look at it is cybercriminals are starting to look at how do they go about actually profiling organizations. It used to be quite difficult for cybercriminals earlier because your footprint was within the enterprise, and all they could have done is they could have taken information from social platforms or public platforms to profile their target. But given now all of us are operating from home, they've got a better way of profiling organizations, right? As to what sort of security controls do you have on your systems, how you communicate with your organization, how do you communicate with your third parties. And that's why you see a big escalation now on software supply chain attacks with SolarWinds and Cache coming into the play.
It's a really good point. Traditionally, we've all built multi-layered defences, big wall around the organisation, and then sat back and waited to see who came at us type thing, and then defended against that. But it's also the profiling side of it. And so it's probably one of the reasons why we started having an initial conversation with you, Ritesh, and CYFIRMA, is trying to understand the risk that we as an organisation are actually under. At the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, we, like most organisations, we've got cyber metrics which we measure, and we saw this huge spike in the number of emails and malware coming at us in that very first month. And the thing is, we didn't necessarily understand, we understood sort of why, but where it was coming from, what the target was. It was really opaque to us. What was your observations? What's actually really happened over the last 18 months in this region?
No, it's a great observation, Mike, and we have seen this with other industries as well. Surely, if you look at from some of those threat metrics, that has completely gone out of equation. Like, you look at ransomware cases, we are seeing almost 400% increase in number of ransomware cases being orchestrated by cyber criminals. Look at phishing, 1100% increase from the same time last year or year before to what we are witnessing now is a completely different dynamics altogether. Malware cases are almost 900% up. So, of course, from overall cybersecurity, statistics, if you look at it, globally it has been reported that, organizations have seen almost 600% increase on cybercrime year on year, the way we used to witness.